Great to be chatting to Nick Paddock about the Cliffy Miller entries for Friday here in the Eastern Cape. First up, cheerful Charlie B will step out in race 2. Now he does look to be that little bit happier on turf, and Nick, I think he's going to appreciate being back on grass on Friday.
Yeah, he's not quite a poly horse. We gave him one more chance on it, and he just doesn't enjoy it. He doesn't travel, and he doesn't finish off the race. You know, he's a battler, he's a trier. You know, he's always going to be in the money and do his thing. And obviously, it's a competitive race with Alan's horse and Jacques' horse in there. But he's got the widest draw as well. But it doesn't really quite faze him. He comes from off them, and we're going to give him a chance, and hopefully he can run on quite nicely into quartets and trifectas.
Behind us in shot is Lanciafi, lovely looking chap, and he's in lovely form at the moment. His last 2 have been decent placings, and Nicky looks like he can be right there again.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's just going from strength to strength at the moment. I thought his last run was out the top draw. You know, he was hopelessly out at the weights with Green Light to Heaven and Green Light Legend, sorry. And he ran a cracker. You know, he's doing well. I think his mile's probably the best trip at the moment for him at the moment. Until he gets a little bit stronger, and because he's still a little bit soft and a really big little baby, and he's really doing well from a good draw. I think he'd be right there, and he's probably one of the good chances on the day for us.
Pastton Wall is next up in race 6. Now his last run, it may have been a little bit flat, but it was his second after the break. He'll be having his peak run on Friday.
Yeah, he's probably he needed his last start. You know, he's quite a difficult horse to gauge, because whether he hacks for 100 meters or he just sprints up, he comes back blowing. So he's doing well. You know, he's come on from that run and he's doing well. It's funny enough, his last winning mark was a 65, and he had a claim 4 on his back. Now he's 64. He's also got a claim 4 again, and he just seems to run well for when the kids ride him, and if the kid can get him in a prominent position early, and he just swings onto him long enough, and so he can finish off his race, he'll do well. He hasn't been on grass for us for quite a while. Yeah. I think it's been 3 years or something like that. We haven't had him on grass, but his previous grass form wasn't terrible, so we're having a bash, and let's see how he goes.
And 2 runners closed for the yard in race 8. Wsworth, he was such a well-deserved winner last time out, and he's been treated quite fairly at the weights. If he holds form, he can be there again. He'll be joined by War Launch. He'll be making his debut for the yard, and he'll do so with a bit of a break.
Yeah, War Launch is probably going to need it a little bit. When we got him, we threw him out for a bit and just let him freshen up, and with the kids riding him, only taking off a kilo, and that he's going to need it. He's horribly out at the weights, but there's no races for him, and we really need to get him going. I'd probably prefer a 5. I think Marco said he'd probably prefer a 5 on poly, and we'll take it from there, and hopefully he can have a nice run and come back sound and carry on with him. And Wordsworth, really good win last time. The 6 is going to suit him a lot better. You know, he's doing well, £3 penalty only, but he is up in class. You know, we've got a couple also, I think it's Coastal Path and Sylvania. You know, they're hard knockers at a higher level, so you've got to respect them. But Wordsworth, you know, he's an honest old soldier. You know, you love him to bits. He never runs a bad race, and he gives it his all every run, and you've got to include him while he's in form like this.
Have to agree, Wsworth, he really gives it his all, and he really, as I said, was a well-deserved winner last time out, so let's see what he can get up to on Friday. And War Launch, we'll watch him have his first run for the yard. I'm sure it'll bring him on.